This is going to be the first guide in a series that I am starting, and I'm super stoked about it. You can probably tell what this guide is going to be on based off of that huge hunk of metal that I got sitting on my back. The Greatsword. The Greatsword has been my companion since Monster Hunter 3. It's an amazing weapon for tanking through monster attacks and dishing out crazy damage. In this video, we're going to be talking about the basic combos, the skills that you should be using on your Greatsword build, and then towards the end, I'm going to showcase an Arkveld fight that shows what the Greatsword is capable of and how the gameplay kind of looks. So first off, you got your true charge slash combo, which is triangle, 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 or Y, Y, Y. A thing to note is if you're holding your charge past red, you're not going to be doing as much damage as if you let go as soon as you turn red. There is a percentage fall off if you hold it. Your circle, 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 or BBB combo isn't really that useful because it doesn't do a lot of damage. Something it really is good for is closing the gap between you and a monster. So then you can actually dish out the damage that you need. And then you have your stationary combo that I really don't see a lot of people using, and neither do I. It's your circle, triangle plus circle, circle, triangle plus circle. It really doesn't do that much damage. So it's, in my view, it's really not that useful. But with Monster Hunter, you now have your focus mode. The great thing about focus mode is you can completely change the direction that your attack is going. So if I was facing away from the monster, I can still turn 180 and still get that attack. But with the focus mode also comes your focus slash. The focus slash is pretty useful, but it's not something that you're going to be using with the Greatsword that often, especially if you have weakness exploit. You're going to want to hit those weak points with your true charge slash. But anyways, the focus slash you do by hitting L2 and R1. Like I said, it doesn't do that much damage, but it still is pretty useful for interrupting monster attacks, especially when you're in a pinch. But the nice thing about it is if you do your focus slash, you can immediately go into your last true charge slash, skipping the first two inputs. Look how amazing that is. And so with the Greatsword, you also have your guard. The guard has been altered a little bit in Wilds. You do now have a perfect guard. And so how you do a perfect guard is hitting R2 as soon as the monster attacks you. When you hit R2 through an attack, you won't take any damage if it's a perfect guard. If you're holding it, you will take a little bit of chip damage. Another thing that Wilds has added is your offset attack. Your offset attack is great for knocking monsters on their face if you do your offset through their attack. And how you do your offset attack is triangle plus circle. It has pretty good damage output, but here we go. If we do it through a monster's attack and then hit triangle right after, we'll do a counter, and it has really good damage output. So again, you do the triangle plus circle through a monster's attack and follow up with the triangle input. you'll do really good damage. And lastly, with the Greatsword, you have your tackle. And how you do your tackle is when you're charging an attack and you hit circle, you will do a tackle. And with the tackle mechanics, if you tackle through an attack and hit that attack perfectly, you will hold the charge from the last attack. So if I was at yellow and tackle through an attack, I will immediately go to red. It's a really good mechanic that you should take advantage of. So now let's talk about skills. So for my sword, I want you guys to keep in mind that it's not the best that I could be getting. The ideal sword would be 4 attack bonuses and 1 sharpness boost. But right now, one of my attack boosts is an element boost. But with my sword, I'm running an expert jewel 3, and then an attack jewel 3 and an attack jewel 2. A lot of people would replace these attack jewels with maybe a focus jewel and a critical element or critical status. The reason that I'm not doing that is, for example, focus. I like to have a little bit extra time in my charge so that I can tackle through an attack. And what focus does is it decreases the time that it takes for you to charge your attack. But like I said, I enjoy being able to hit those tackles perfectly, so I choose not to run it. The critical element will just give you extra damage with your elemental damage, and same thing with your critical status. But I'm running blast, and so I will get that 150 damage tick no matter what. So I choose to run an attack just for that extra raw damage. For my armor set, I'm running Gore Magala's set, and the reason that I'm doing that is because of Gore Magala's tyranny. And what that does is it infects you with the frenzy virus, and when you're infected, you have a 10% infinity gain, but then you also, through dealing damage, you can overcome the virus. And when you do that, it gives you a 15% increase. But with this same jewel, also known as antivirus, at level 3, that can go to 30% extra affinity. My tenderizer jewels are weakness exploit, and so with my talisman, that will put me at weakness exploit 5. And so with that, I'm getting 30% increase affinity to weak points, and then 50% to wounds. The counter is your counter strike. Counter strike is amazing because if you tackle through an attack, you do your offset attack, or even guard through attack, any attack that's supposed to knock you back, you'll get a plus 25 raw damage to your attack. Might is your maximum might, and so basically, when your stamina is full, at level 3, you'll get plus 30% affinity, which is amazing. And then for my mantle, I am running the Corrupted Mantle. It's basically the same thing as Gore Magala's Tyranny, but also it gives you a little extra damage with your triangle attacks. It lasts for 2 minutes, and the recharge time is about 10. And so if I turn on my skills,
Let's give it a try.
you'll see that I got infected with the frenzy virus, and you can tell that by the top left with those purple balloons. If I sit here and do damage, at some point I'm going to overcome the virus. There we go. The virus has been overcome, and you can tell that by that blue cloud up at the top left. So if you look at my stats, now my affinity is at 72%. So that means that I'm hitting a critical attack 72% of the time. So that's really good to keep in mind. If I add the corrupted mantle, that will go up to 100% as soon as I overcome that virus. As you can see, I'm getting that extra tick damage with my triangle attacks. And as you can see, I'm at 100% affinity. So that's the basics for the Greatsword. Now we're going to go into an Arkveld fight and showcase what it looks like when you put it all together.
To get serious.